Hello, my name is Jon Bradley, the operations manager of our plant number 1 and plant number 2 facility. Good morning. And
my name is April Frost. I'm the chief plant operator for our plant 1 facility.
So good morning and welcome to Orange County Sanitation District plant number 1 reclamation facility. We're going to do a tour today of the various process units that we have in which we treat the wastewater. Where we're standing now is our Headworks area, which is under construction, rehabilitation. And this is a convergence point where all the various trunk lines from the different sewers basically come to this point at our treatment facility. As we're standing right now, we're actually standing on the Euclid trunk line. And in a minute here, we're gonna go down in our tunneling system to take a look at the pipes. So as I said, we're standing in our Headworks area, and the Headworks is basically the front of the plant. This is part of the preliminary treatment that helps to meter flows, it helps to divert flows if possible. It's where we screen out heavy debris that can affect downstream equipment. So this is a very important part of our infrastructure. You can actually see down here a series of pipes. Now these pipes aren't like 3 or 4 inch lateral. You can tell they're quite large in size. Actually, one of our larger pipes at our plant number 2 facility is 144 inches in diameter, which is 12 feet. So you can pretty much drive a small car through there. So it's pretty interesting. But you notice we were standing on the Euclid trunk line, which conveys some of the flows from the Fullerton area, and you can see that here. And this is where we would measure the flow that's coming into our treatment plant. Why is it important to know what flow's coming in the plant? Well, that helps us to dictate what downstream process units, how many, for example, we would need to put in service. Part of our process uses a living biology, which we have to monitor for various constituents that could come in that could harm them. So here, like I said, we're monitoring for pH and conductivity. Treatment. So you've seen the flow that's been metered, and now we've removed some of the heavy screenings from it. And what we're looking at right now is the bar screen. So the bar screen basically breaks heavy debris that's in the sewage out and conveys it basically to a conveyor system that puts it into a dumpster to be then pulled off. Behind this is because if you left this material in the waste stream, it could plug up or prematurely cause wear on downstream pumps and other equipment. Right now the bar screen is operating. You can see it went down into the process, and now it's going to be pulling up the screenings and basically depositing them, like I said, on a conveyor system. So the next part of our process after we've now screened it and then pumped the flow in is our grit basins. And with me is April Frost, our chief plant operator. She's going to explain to you a little bit about how that process works.
So similarly to the bar screens, we want to pull out as much of the inorganics out of the process as quickly as possible. So we've got rags and debris that will be coming in from our trunk lines with the bar screens. Is to remove grit. So we give the flow an opportunity to slow down. We slow down to about 1 foot per second, and that grit has a chance to settle out and then get removed from the water stream, which will then carry on into the downstream processes.
So after we've removed the inorganics that again could foul up downstream equipment, now the flow is going to travel to the next stage of treatment, which is primary treatment. And in this area, we have a series of 3 splitter boxes that can convey that flow to different primary clarification processes.
throughout the facility, we have several different odor control scrubbers where we are pulling foul air off of the different processes, making sure that that stays contained, and then treats it through scrubber systems. Up at our Headworks, we have two different styles. One's a biological scrubber, where it uses microorganisms to treat the odor-causing bacteria, as well as chemical scrubbers like we see here that are treating the foul air coming off of our primary processes. So we have 4 scrubbers here, both utilizing chemicals to treat the foul air.
Right now we're on top of our rectangular primary clarifiers. We just left our circular primary clarifiers. Within the primary clarification process, we use chemicals to enhance the settling that happens in them to basically clarify the wastewater. We use chemicals such as polymers and ferrics, and this aids in that settling process. Within a primary clarifier, basically what settles, and what will float, floats. The material that floats is scraped off, and the material that settles is also scraped off through a series of paddles and collectors, and then that material is pumped to our digestion process, which we'll look at a little bit later.
If you look behind us here, you can see all of the white piping. So that is piping that is collecting the foul air and conveying it over to the scrubbers to be treated.
Underneath our primary clarifier process within our pump galley system and tunnel system, surrounding me you can see the different sludge pumps that help to convey that sludge that's settled to the bottom of the clarifier to our anaerobic digestion process. You'll also notice that we have several operations and maintenance team members in the background doing various maintenances, preventative maintenances, corrective maintenances on the different equipment. We have a very talented team that help to keep this equipment running 24/7.
So right now we're standing on top of our trickling filter process, and flow after it's gone through the primary clarifiers will come over to the trickling filters. It's piped up into this center column where it travels into these distributed arms that you see traveling around the trickling filter. Kind of below us here, there is a series of media where we grow what's called a zoobial mass, right? So kind of imagine a river, and you have river rock where algae is going to grow on it. As the water travels across the media, it trickles down, and microorganisms that are growing on that media help to grab the organics that are in the water and pull it out and clarify the water that we're introducing to it. So the water will travel across the media, trickle down through and to the bottom, and once clarified, will travel down farther into our process for further clarification. So once the water has traveled through the trickling filter itself, it'll move on to secondary clarification. So these are secondary clarifiers, which are very similar to our primary clarifiers that we just saw, where the heavy material, the sludge, is going to settle, and the lighter material, the scum, is going to float to the top, and we remove both of those. And at this point, you can see the clarified water traveling over these weirs, and we have reached, this is actually full secondary treatment and reached the end point of this process.
At OC San, we have two different activated sludge processes at our plant number 1 facility. We have activated sludge process number 1 and activated sludge process number 2. We're actually standing on the aeration deck of activated sludge process number 2. In here, you can see what we call mixed liquor. So with inside this liquid, you're seeing bacteria that's aerobic, meaning that it needs air. This aerobic bacteria is coming in contact with the various constituents that's in the wastewater, and it's doing the treatment for us. So we're standing on top of one of our activated sludge plant number 2 secondary clarifiers. You'll notice that these are circular clarifiers. Similar to our primary clarifiers, we have rectangular and we also have circular. They both do the same job, just a little bit different technology. Our activated sludge process is actually rectangular. You can see it over here, adjacent to us. Now, if you look at what's happening in this clarifier, in this initial zone, you have a flocculation chamber where the water is coming up a center column from the aeration basins, and it's helping it to flocculate and then settle down and clarify over time. So when we get to the end of where the water would then overflow and now become our plant's effluent, it's been clarified. So this is an example of our rectangular clarifiers that are part of the secondary process. You can see that the water is overflowing the weirs and it's entering the effluent channel, and then it's going to eventually make its way over to Orange County Water District, where they further reclaim the water.
On occasion, we actually have found turtles that have come in through the front of our process, up by the bar screens. And so for some of those turtles, we've given them a home, and you can see that they are happy and thriving in actually our secondary effluent. So it goes to show the quality of the water, that the organic life can thrive in it, and is a testament to the quality of our process and the amazing job that our whole team does here.